Welcome to Amazing Mind, the HMI web TV talk show that introduces you to all sorts of interesting people and concepts related to subconscious behavior. My name is Lisa Mackenberg, hypnotherapist, HMI instructor, and host. Today we have an amazing guest who's going to talk to us about how we can raise the confidence and love of learning in our children of any age. Please help me welcome my guest, Dr. Jennifer Cassatly. Now, Dr. Cassatly, she is a clinical psychologist with a private practice in Brentwood, California. She also was an adjunct professor at Loyola Marymount University. Please help me welcome my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, Dr. Cassatly, as we talk about love of learning and building confidence, I want to start at the beginning. You know, children begin to love learning from the moment they're born. But we can really begin to help promote it right around the age of autonomy, all the way up to when they leave for school. What can we do to help promote love of learning in the children in the age of autonomy?
You know, it's actually pretty easy at that age because children are naturally inquisitive. The world is new. They have a lot of exuberance. So much of it is following their lead in what they're interested in. It's being patient with and responding to the incessant why questions, knowing that, remembering that it is a time that will pass. It's a short-lived stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to when your kids ask why, how do we have an unlimited amount of patience for this, all those questions?
It's tough. I think remembering that you don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to say that you don't know. It's okay to ask kids to wait until you have time to respond to their questions or to even look up and find the answers.
Well, why do I have to wait? I have a smartphone, Dr. Cassatly. I can Google it and I can have an answer instantly.
You can, but at the same time, you wouldn't be teaching them others' necessary skills, which include delayed gratification, so learning how to wait. And then also that it's okay not to know all the answers. You just may not know.
So it's not important to have to know all the answers, but you have to know where to look to get all the answers.
Yes.
Now, flipping over from love of learning to teaching confidence, the stage of autonomy, we also call it the terrible twos, and you have children who sit and scream in the middle of the supermarket, and you have to get your stuff done, and you have to leave, and we have somebody screaming. How do we begin to set healthy boundaries without squashing self-confidence?
Well, it's tough. And I think the most important thing to remember during those episodes is really that it's a learning opportunity. Kids during that time are really learning how to manage frustration and to cope with being angry. And teaching the containment of feelings starts with the parents, actually starts with how you model it. I always recommend that parents try to remain calm, try to remember that time is their friend, that they can plan ahead so that when those situations arise, that they can respond in a way that's more consistent and with firmness, even if it means having to leave a store or a restaurant.
Well, I like what you said about time management, because when you do have children, we have to build that extra time into our day just in case something, we should expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. And this happens for everyone, but when we leave tasks to the last minute, errands and so forth, usually we're pressured. We're pressuring our kids to move more quickly. We're more stressed, and that creates an environment of tension. And so one of the things why it's important for parents to remain calm is that their emotional state can either escalate or de-escalate the situation.
Like kids are tiny little magnifying glasses. They can take your anxiety or your pressure and really magnify it up.
Yeah, they're sensitive, yeah. They're kind of feeling barometers.
Well, now I want to move up to the school age. Once your child goes into a traditional classroom, now what can we do to promote the love of learning?
First is remembering that it's a major shift. Learning now is more formalized. It's in a classroom, kids are seated, they're expected to excel in academics, behavior, socially, athletically, and they're being graded. So they're really learning what their own abilities are as they relate to other kids. And that's tough. We're not actually asked to do that as adults. So it's important to remember to So it's important to remember to praise effort and perseverance on difficult tasks, not just the outcome.
Now that's really important. You want to praise the effort, not the outcome necessarily, and the perseverance.
Absolutely.
That really resonates because with one of my 3 children, well, for high school he had to pick one word that characterized him, and the word he chose was diligence.
Good for him. Yeah.
So that perseverance and taking a look at the effort. Talk to me more about that.
All learning entails trial and error activities. It's why we have homework. It's not just getting the easy A. It's not just doing the things that are easier for us. It's not the award or the trophy at the end of a game or a season. It's the work that we put in.
Okay. So what about when our kids make mistakes?
Those, again, it's important to remember that those are learning opportunities. It's really, those are some of the best experiences actually for kids' growth and self-esteem.
Are the mistakes? Well, here's a question that I know a lot of people have and a lot of people do and either are guilty of or should be praised for doing. Many people right now, we call ourselves hover parents. Sometimes we call ourselves smothers instead of mothers. And we have a tendency to rescue our child. Talk to us about self-esteem and rescuing. When our child leaves home, his or her instrument, saxophone, homework, lunch, or even project, what should we do?
It's important to allow kids to make mistakes. It teaches them not to fear it, that they are not defined by individual errors, to take responsibility for their actions, and also resourcefulness, how to respond to trouble and how to ask for help, how to, problem solve within a situation.
Well, I like what you said, that instead of them relying on us as the parents, they're learning resourcefulness and that they can rely on themselves. Does that in and of itself build self-esteem?
It does. Self-esteem entails the ability, one of the components is the belief that I can meet and overcome challenges, that I can do it,
Well, we talked about being in a traditional classroom, and most of the parents watching have children in a traditional classroom. What can we do as parents if we have a child with a learning difference or someone who doesn't learn best in a traditional classroom?
Collaborating with the school and the teacher is really important. Learning to break the tasks down into smaller, more doable components is also important. Using pictures whenever possible if the challenge is in learning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So now we're going to leave those school years and we're going to talk, just you and me, we're going to pretend that nobody else is listening.
Okay.
We're going to talk about love of learning and self-esteem in teens.
Okay.
And Dr. Cassatly, I have 3 teens living in my house with me and my husband. So the first one I want to ask you about is, what do we do with teen anxiety? And I believe with school, which we've had for generations and generations, now we have social media. What do we do? And we have competitiveness, getting into vocational colleges or the career of your choice. How do we handle teen anxiety?
That's a good question. I think the first is to listen, to validate, to acknowledge. Don't deny it as being a problem, and don't minimize their troubles. What they perceive to be really big or upsetting, for them is.
And then we also can't magnify it either, because sometimes their anxiety about, am I going to get into the right career or the right college? We can have those anxieties too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Listening and acknowledging is validating the feeling. It's not endorsing or agreeing with the extent of the problem.
What are some of the best ideas that you can give us for all parents to help all of our children?
I think the most important thing for parents to remember is that learning and the development of self-esteem starts with them. So how they respond to their children's questions about why, when they make mistakes, having patience and remaining calm. Children, again, they're barometers. They really see how parents, react in their own lives when challenges or mistakes occur, as well as how do they respond to them when they make mistakes.
So are you telling me that our kids will never do what we say, but they'll always do what we do? Is that what you're telling me?
You know, it's not too far from the truth, yeah.
Oh, I believe that too, Dr. Cassatly. Now, I know that everyone is going to want to learn more about raising self-esteem, people with learning differences, children with learning differences, and how we can promote the love of learning at every age. And Dr. Jennifer Cassatly has her private practice in Brentwood, California. Well, we are going to take a short break, but please stay tuned, because when we come back, we are going to meet our second guest, who is an award-winning author. But first, I'd like to thank Dr. Jennifer Cassatly for being my guest on Amazing Mind. Thank you. Jennifer Cassatly. Now, Dr. Cassatly, she is a clinical psychologist with a private practice in Brentwood, California. She also was an adjunct professor at Loyola Marymount University. Please help me welcome my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, Dr. Cassatly, as we talk about love of learning and building confidence, I want to start at the beginning. Welcome to Amazing Mind, the HMI web TV talk show that introduces you to all sorts of interesting people and concepts related to subconscious behavior. My name is Lisa Mackenberg. Hypnotherapist, HMI instructor, and host. Today we have an amazing guest who's going to talk to us about how we can raise the confidence and love of learning in our children of any age. Please help me welcome my guest, Dr.